Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Marina. I make videos to make settling into life in Canada seamless for newcomers and foreign trained professionals. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. First of all, let me say a happy new year to you all. This is my first video of 2024, even though slightly delayed. Should have been out yesterday, but for reasons beyond my immediate control, I couldn't have the video out yesterday, but thank goodness we're here now. I was going to talk about something completely different in this first video, but just following some of the things that I saw in the news and some weather changes that we have seen in Saskatoon, I thought it would be a great time for us to have a refresher on winter safety, winter essentials, especially for those of you who are new. I recognize that in the last year, we have had quite a number of new subscribers. For some of you, you're experiencing your first winter in Canada. I thought it would be a great time for us to talk about some winter basics, some things to keep you safe during the winter period. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If this is the kind of content that interest you, please keep watching and hit the subscribe button if you're yet to do so. For those of you who are experiencing winter for the first time, there are a couple of adjustments that are needed, and today I'm going to be talking about them under three broad categories. The first one would be around your house. The first thing you want to know when it comes to your house and the winter is to check your thermostat. There are some settings that your thermostat needs to be on so that the humidity, the moisture, and everything is appropriately controlled. You need to know what those settings are. For some people, they have like smart thermostats where the humidity is too high, it would beep and prompt you that the humidity is high and tell you what to do. If you don't have those kind of smart devices that manage like the climate within your house, you want to know what the appropriate setting to put your thermostat at. Because if you don't do that, like if the humidity is too high, if there's too much moisture in the air within your house, what's going to happen is that when the temperature dips too low, you would notice ice and frost build up around your windows. While it might not be an immediate problem, over time it can create problems. I noticed this thing in the house that we used to live in where we didn't fully understand how to make those adjustments to the thermostat settings. What eventually happened was that the part of the window that always used to freeze up, or where the frost used to build up, when it would melt, it would seep into the walls, and before long we had like stains on the walls. We eventually had to change like the baseboards, the drywall in that part of the house. So damage can accumulate over time. You just want to make sure you're getting that right from the start. So check your thermostat and make sure it's the right settings. If you live in an apartment and you don't know what the settings should be, it will be a good time to call like the maintenance guys in the apartment. They will provide that advice. Sometimes they would even come and set the right temperature for you. Just make sure you're asking questions to make sure that you have the right thermostat settings. That's number one. The second thing you want to pay attention to as it relates to your house is to make sure you have a winter emergency kit, and I would explain what that is. Sometimes during the winter, one thing that could happen is that the power could go out. And when the power goes out, you want to make sure that you have things that you can survive on before the power comes back. The time for power outages can range anywhere from 10 minutes all the way to 24 hours, depending on the severity of the weather condition or the reason why the power has gone out. In some cases, when there's a blizzard, like a major winter storm, some people have had to be without power for up to 18 hours, for 24 hours in some cases. You want to make sure that if that ever happened to you, you have the essentials that you can survive on before the power is restored, because basically everything that we do in our homes depend on power, from our stove to the fridge to like the microwave to even our garages. To come out of your house, your garage is powered. I have heard about manual ways to open the garage. I just haven't heard of manual ways to close it. So either ways, we're all very dependent on power, and if you ever have to do without power, you want to make sure that you have food that you can eat that doesn't have to be cooked. So you want to consider maybe snacks or food in like cans that you can eat without having to use heat, without having to use power. That's one. If you have young children who maybe depend on certain kinds of food where you need like hot water to make them, you want to consider investing in like a thermos flask, a big thermos flask where you can always have hot water readily available for situations like that. You also want to make sure that your emergency kit includes like a flashlight, because if the power goes out, you need to find alternative ways to illuminate your house. So a flashlight will come in handy. For me, I'm a collector of scented candles. I like my space smelling fresh. So my scented candles come in handy at times like that. I just bring quite a number of them out and light them all up and illuminate the house. If you're going to use the candles route, you want to make sure that you're exercising an extra layer of caution, because candle and wood, they're not friends. So you want to make sure that you never leave the candles unattended. Make sure you are there. So it's going to form both a layer of illumination and a source of warmth in the house as well. So your emergency kit will involve things like snacks, like flashlights, like candles. You also want batteries, extra batteries to power the flashlight, because we don't use it often. Sometimes you don't know when the batteries have run out, so you want extra batteries in the house as well. You also want jump cables for when you have to manually start your car, because sometimes the temperature can dip so much that if you forget to plug in your car, it can take a while before the car comes on, or it will not come on at all. You want to make sure that you have ways that you can manually start your vehicle. So definitely something for you to pay attention to when it comes to the winter and your home. Second winter safety area that I'm going to be addressing today is your dressing. This one's a no-brainer. Like, you have to be dressed appropriately for the weather. There's a common saying that there's no bad winter, there's just bad dressing. So if you're not dressed appropriately, you will feel the burn. And if you live in the prairies like I do, where the winters can get brutally harsh with the wind chill, that's not a chance that you want to take. So make sure that you're investing in the right winter gear. I have found that if you have the right jacket, if you have the right winter gear, you don't have to wear so many layers. So if this is your first winter, well, yes, your cold threshold is still very low, so you're going to need to bundle up and layer up appropriately. But for your outer jacket, make sure that you are investing in a good one. Sometimes cheap is not always better. Sometimes it is going to be painful paying for the expensive jackets in the moment, but it will save you a lot of trouble. The jacket that I have, I bought it in the heat of winter because my other winter jacket gave up on me in the middle of winter, so I had to buy one right in the heat of winter. Heat of winter sounds like irony. There's no heat in winter. Anyway, I had to buy that right in the now I don't know what to use to replace that one. In the heat of winter, take it. I had to buy it then. It was very expensive because that's peak period, so you're paying peak pricing for winter gear. When I bought it, it was just a little, I think it was around $350 with taxes. It was painful to pay that amount when I paid it. But I think I've had that jacket for up to 4 years. I have not had to change it. So make sure that you're investing in a good one from the get-go so that you save yourself the trouble of having to replace and replace and replace. That's what I was trying to do when that jacket gave up on me right in the middle of winter. So please don't try to be cheap with your outerwear because you're going to need to change them so many times. At the end of the day, it will come back to the price that you would have paid for one good one. So invest in good winter gear. Your thermal wear, pants, underwear, socks, gloves, cover your neck, your head, all of those things, no-brainers. If you have children, ski pants are a must. Completely essential. Just make sure you're bundling up appropriately because pneumonia is not something to joke with. And then for your boots, that's another thing that's very important because the ground becomes icy and it becomes slippery. You want to make sure that you have winter boots that have good traction that would help you when you walk. If you don't have boots that have the best traction, there's this thing that people can buy and put at the bottom of their shoe to increase the traction. I'll find a picture and put on the screen. The last person who I saw it with said they got it on Amazon. So that's definitely something to consider. If you're not sure that your boot has the right traction, you can have that. I've forgotten what it's called. I'll find it and put the picture of it on the screen so you can find that if that's an option you want to consider. But overall, just make sure that you're dressed appropriately, you have the right winter gear, you're layered up appropriately for yourself, for your kids, because it can get dangerous. You can be stuck outside for prolonged periods of time, and if you don't have the right gear, you're going to be exposing yourself to really harsh weather, and that's not safe because buses can be delayed. If you don't drive, you depend on the bus system. It can be delayed during the winter. It can be unpredictable during the winter. So you want to be prepared at all times, okay? Third and the final area that I'm going to be addressing today is about your car and winter driving. Now, no matter how many years of experience of driving you have coming from your home country, if you have never driven a winter driving is going to be a shift. It is a major shift because driving is about the car and the road. What winter does is it creates an additional layer of pretty much like a barrier on the road. So there's an additional layer between your car and the road, which means that traction is reduced, which means that response time for your car can be reduced, can be impacted. So you want to put that into serious consideration when you drive. The first trick for winter driving is to drive slower. When I say slower, I don't mean if the speed limit is 70, drive at 30. That's not what I mean. It just means don't drive in a hurry. The first trick is to not drive in a hurry. Give yourself more time for commute. Give yourself more time to be on the road. Give yourself time to not be under pressure to drive faster, because that's where you now start to make bad choices and increase the possibility of an accident. Give yourself more time. When you drive on the road, increase your following distance. With the cars in front of you, give them a little more space. What that does is if something is happening to them, it will give you enough time to react. Or if you have to make a sudden decision, you are not going to be too close to the car in front of you to not make that decision. If you have to make a sudden change, it gives you enough time to be able to do that safely. There's a rule of thumb that if you're driving and the car, if you do not see the two back tires of the car in front of you touch the ground, you're following them too closely. It's just something that I heard a couple of years ago and I have stuck with it. Like if you're driving and you do not see the two back tires of the car in front of you touch the ground, you are too close to them. So increase your following distance. Again, it gives you room to be able to react. It gives you room to be able to make changes, to make quick decisions where you need to. Not advisable, but if you are at the point where you need to make a quick decision, give yourself enough time to do that. You also want to make sure that you know the rules that apply to accidents. As a newcomer, if you have never been in an accident, you don't know what to do. In Saskatchewan, SGI is the motor license issuer that we all use. Go on the SGI website and read just what do you do in the event of a collision? What do you do if somebody runs into you? What do you do if it's an at-fault collision? If it's a collision you caused or something somebody else caused, what do you do in situations like that? We have had one major snow dump so far in Saskatchewan, which is not typical because November and December were pretty much dry. We had a brown Christmas for the first time. So the first snow dump we have had is in January, and on that day, as at midday of that day, the Saskatoon Police Service had reported more than 20 collisions that they had to respond to across the city. So it can get a bit dangerous, and if that happens, you need to know what to do if you ever found yourself in that situation. I have a video that I have done about what to do if you ever got in an accident. I'm going to link that on the screen so that you can go and check it out and learn more about what to do in the event of a collision. You also want to make sure that you have a car emergency kit. So we have talked about the emergency kit for your house. You also want an emergency kit for your car because you can get stuck on the road, your car can stop on the road, you can park your car somewhere, come back and the car doesn't start. It might take a while for help to get to you. If your car needs to be towed, it might take some time for towing trucks to get to you. If you need additional help, like somebody to come and help you, it might take time for that to happen. While you are waiting, would you be safe inside your car? So you want to consider having extra blankets inside your car. You also want to consider having like a flashlight, like a jump cable, like things like that, that would make helping you a little easier for the person who's coming to help you if they are not professionals, right? You also want to make sure you have snacks because you don't know how long you're going to be stuck there. You can consider putting them in like an insulated bag and just keeping in your car for when it becomes handy. Have extra blankets, especially if you have children. You want to make sure that if anything ever happened and you need to wait inside that car in the winter, you're going to be warm enough until help gets to you. Just have that extra snack. It's going to be hard to say have water because it can freeze up, but just every time you're going out, make sure that you have extra water with you because you just never know. Better for you to have it and not need it than for you to need it and not have it. So have all of those extras at all times. You just never know when it comes in handy. I hope you found this helpful. If you're new in Canada and this is your first winter, I hope you found this helpful. If you have, please do well to share it with other people to learn from this as well. I know that I have not covered everything winter related, and if there's anything you think I've missed in this video, please do well to leave that in the comment section below so that other people can learn from it as well. Overall, I want you all to be safe, stay safe out there. Again, I wish you all a happy new year, and I hope that we will all be safe in this new year, especially now that the winter is in full swing. November and December were like our bonus months. We barely had any cold, we barely had any snow. January, the winter has reminded us that it is still winter. The snow and the winter is reminding us who the actual boss is. Well, prepare yourself. It's just going to get colder from here, just so you know. Okay, but with these tips, I hope that it helps you to manage the situation and you're able to stay safe. Thank you again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please like it, share it, invite other people to learn from this as well. And if you're yet to subscribe to my channel, please do well to hit the subscribe button. And until I come your way in the next video, it's Marina as always saying thank you and have an awesome day. Bye guys.